Hey y'all, welcome back or welcome to Tea by Khalil. My name is Khalil and here's what I learned about tea this week so you don't have to. Popular Tea Edition. Before we get started, I would like to note that all of my information is based off of internet searches and the popularity of tea varies from culture to culture, person to person, region to region, and so many other factors. With this in mind, for this video, because I live in America, I specifically scoped this video to America and popular tea drinks in America. So, in no particular order, on account of all of the different information I was finding, the top 6 most popular teas in America are Earl Grey, Chai Masala, breakfast blends, which includes British breakfast, Irish breakfast, and Scottish breakfast, which I would love to try, but I haven't tried it yet, so I'll have to get some and let you know what it tastes like. Strong green tea, black lemon tea, which would be fire with raspberry in it, and to wrap it all up, peach tea. So today we're going to go over a brief history of each tea and how to make it. Note that most brands have instructions on the back of their tea blends on how to make their tea, including the temperature that your water should be, how long you should steep the tea for, and all of that. Also, for the next portion of this video, I'm going to be assuming that you guys are using loose leaf tea because it arguably brews a better cup of tea. Let me know if y'all want me to make a video on why it brews a better cup of tea versus bag tea. However, should you choose bag tea, which is totally based, just follow the same instructions that I give y'all and mentally replace the words loose leaf tea with bag tea. Okay, let's kick it off with Earl Grey tea. Okay, starting off with the history of Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey tea was created about 200 years ago in England, and this blend is made with black tea and essential oil extract from the peel of a civil orange. One of my favorite ways to make Earl Grey tea is actually to brew it with dried lavender leaves. So flavorful and so good. Okay, so some ground rules or things that are going to be the same for every single tea that we go over today, and thus I'm not going to repeat it because I got a lot to say. And if I repeat these steps, then the video is going to be like 20 minutes long, and y'all don't want that, and editing Khalil doesn't want that either. So firstly, you're going to use 1 teaspoon of loose leaf tea for every 8 ounces of water you boil. Make sure to warm your teapot while your water is boiling, and start with cold or room temperature water to bring to a boil. If you don't have a teapot, that is completely fine. You can watch my video on how to make tea the way I was taught to learn how I get around this issue, or alternatively, you can use a mug to brew your tea separate from the mug you'll be drinking out of, or you can use a glass measuring cup with a spout to brew your tea. With that out of the way, for Earl Grey tea, you're going to start by bringing your water just barely to a boil. You're going to warm your teapot, and you're also going to measure out your tea leaves into an infuser or a strainer. Additionally, you're going to place your sweetener of choice and milk of choice into your teacup or your tea mug. Once your water is done boiling, empty out your warming teapot, place in your strainer, and pour your boiling water over the tea leaves. Place the lid of your teapot on top of it all and allow it to brew for 3 to 5 minutes. This depends on how strong you want your tea as to how long you let it brew. For me, optimal brewing time is around 3 to 4 minutes. After your tea is finished brewing, remove your strainer and do not, under all circumstances, squeeze the water out of your tea. You're going to release something called tannins, which will make your tea bitter and it will hurt your stomach a lot. Okay, with that in mind, after you've removed your strainer, go ahead and pour that bad puppy over your sweetener and your milk, give it a stir, and enjoy your Earl Grey tea. Secondly, arguably one of the greatest teas ever, masala chai. Just some history for you. Masala chai is a South Asian blend of black tea, water, and various herbs and spices. While there's no fixed recipe on account of this tea varies from region to region and family to family, the things that are almost constantly present in this tea drink is tea, obviously, water, milk, sugar, and a spice blend that includes ginger, cardamom, and black pepper. To make this tea, you can either buy loose leaf masala chai blend and follow the steps that I went over to make Earl Grey tea, or alternatively, you could be a little fancy and you can make it yourself. So what you will need to do this is you'll need 3 tablespoons of loose leaf black tea, 2 tablespoons of grated ginger, 1 cinnamon stick, 3 whole cloves, 6 to 8 green cardamom pods, 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, 1.5 cups of water, and 2 cups of milk of your choice, and a sweetener of your choice. The reason why there's no measurement for the sweetener here is because you sweeten it to your taste. Place your spices, excluding your ginger, into a grinder or a mortar and pestle and break them up into big pieces. They should not be powder, just broken up into big pieces. Then, in a medium saucepan, bring your water, spices, and ginger to a boil, then turn the heat down to medium-low and allow it to simmer for 15 minutes. Add in your black tea and your milk and reduce your heat to low and cover it and allow all the flavors to meet each other for 5 minutes. After the second 5 minutes is up, you're going to remove your pan from the heat and allow it to sit covered for another 5 minutes to continue to allow the flavors to meet each other. Finally, after the second 5 minutes, you can add in your sweetener and then strain your tea into a jar until it's ready to be enjoyed. This recipe, by the way, makes 3 cups of masala chai. Okay, third on the list is breakfast blends, and they stay true to their name. They are the best for breakfast. I love having British breakfast tea or Irish breakfast tea with my breakfast. So good. Anyway, some history for you about breakfast blends. The different breakfast blends include full body, which just basically means the color, taste, and the strength of the tea. Teas that are mostly from India, Sri Lanka, Africa, and China. They have a high caffeine content and are strong enough to go well with milk and sugar. Some of the most popular breakfast blends are English breakfast, Irish breakfast, and Scottish breakfast. So it's so easy to make these brekkie teas. All you're going to need to do is follow the exact same instructions that I gave y'all for Earl Grey tea and enjoy your breakfast tea. Again, these teas are on the more caffeinated side, so they're perfect for breakfast or an afternoon pick-me-up. Fourthly, at least I think it's fourthly, green tea, which either you like it or you don't. I know that for me personally, I don't really like green tea, but don't come at me, y'all. It's just my taste buds. It's not me, it's my taste buds. Anyway, since it was on the list of the 6 most popular teas in America, we're going to cover it today. So a little history about green tea for you. Like most teas, this tea comes from China from like thousands of years ago and specifically comes from the Camellia sinensis plant, which you've heard of before if you've watched my Tetley Tea edition of this series. Anyways, this tea differs from black tea in that it is made from buds and leaves that have not been withered or oxidized using the process used for black tea, leading to a more refreshing taste. So the word strong here, as it's used in this list, is a little misleading to me because you can make your green tea strong by just adding in more leaves per 8 ounces, like a teaspoon and a half per 8 ounces, or brewing your tea longer, or even adding a cinnamon stick. Otherwise, you're going to make your tea pretty much the same as you would Earl Grey tea with 2 fundamentally different things. The first different thing is the temperature of the boiling water. So for green tea, to avoid bitterness, you're going to want to bring your tea water to about 176 degrees to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. This can be achieved by keeping an eye on the temperature of your water using a thermometer or allowing your water to cool for a couple of minutes after bringing it to a simmer. The second most fundamental difference in making green tea is instead of using milk and sweetener with your tea, you're just going to use sweetener because when you add milk to hot green tea, the fat content reacts with the acid in the green tea, causing it to curdle, which is so gross. Fifthly, black lemon tea. Today's black lemon tea, some history for you, is very similar to Russian tea mentioned in a late 19th century's Boston cookbook. Homemade recipes usually have a stronger natural lemon flavor, and additionally, they may include lemon juice and broken black tea leaves or tea bags, and use lemon slices for decoration. So the recipe I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is from Whisk-A-Fare, and I got my ratios from this blog, but I did not agree with the steep time, so that's going to be a little different. Additionally, this recipe serves 2 people. I've never really made black lemon tea before, and I'm very intrigued by it, but I think that'll be a different day that I make it. For now, to make this tea, you will need 2 teaspoons of loose leaf black tea, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 16 ounces of water, and your sweetener of choice. As always, you're going to bring your water to a boil, steep your black tea with the lemon juice in the pot for 3 to 5 minutes, remove the strainer, and add in your sweetener, stir, and enjoy. This tea is also not served with milk on account of the acid from the lemon juice. Last but not least, peach tea. So some history for you. Peach tea has origins in China from almost 8,000 years ago. Additionally, China owns the laurel of being the supplier of roughly half of the world's supply of peach tea today. In ancient Chinese and Japanese culture, peaches were also a symbol of keeping people and protecting people from any misfortune they might come across. The most common kind of peach tea is flavored fruit peach tea, which is versatile and can be made with many different bases such as green tea, black tea, white tea, oolong tea, or even herbal tea. And also, this tea is super popular iced, so spoiler, that's how we're going to be making it today. And today I'm going to be using Rishi's Tea's Peach Blossom Tea, which uses a white tea base. And for those of you who don't know, generally white tea refers to tea that is made from immature leaves and buds that have not fully opened yet and therefore have not been dried out in the sun. And so the tea has not been oxidized and is a significantly lighter color with a sweeter flavor than what black tea traditionally has, even though they come from the same plant, which is crazy. The name white tea specifically comes from the white silver strands on the bud of the tea plant. Okay, so to make classic iced peach tea, you're going to be making a simple syrup, and thus the ratios equal about 10 servings, which is a lot, but I've heard iced peach tea is pretty bomb.com, so it's probably worth it. With this in mind, you're going to need a half a cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, 2 ripe peaches sliced thinly, and some extra for later, 2 to 3 tablespoons of loose leaf black tea, and 8 cups of water. What you're going to do is you're going to place your sugar and your peaches in a medium-sized saucepan and cover it with just enough water to cover the peaches. You're going to bring that to a boil, and you're also going to smash some of the peaches so that they release their flavor. Once the sugar has been dissolved, take off the heat and cover and allow it to steep for 25 to 30 minutes. While your simple syrup is brewing, you're going to boil your 8 cups of water, and then you're going to steep your tea and set aside and allow that to cool. Once your simple syrup is done brewing, add it to a cup of ice, and then you can either strain out your mushy peaches and add in fresh ones, or you can keep them. Then you're going to top it with as much or as little black tea as you would like. This recipe, by the way, is derived from Minimalist Baker. Okay, so just some extra stuff before we finally go make some peach tea. I found this really interesting source that I actually didn't realize existed, and it's called the Tea Association of the USA Incorporated. The Tea Association released data from 2019 to 2020 about tea culture in the US. Accordingly, tea can be found around 80% of American households, and thus, on any given day, 159 million Americans are consuming tea. In 2019 alone, Americans consumed over 84 billion servings of tea, with 84% of all tea that was consumed being black tea and 15% being green tea, and the small amount remaining was oolong tea, white tea, or dark tea. Fun fact, millennials are actually the most likely generation to be consuming tea. If you watched my last video about Tetley tea, you'll know that in 1904, during the St. Louis Fair of 1904, iced tea was created. Check out that video for more info. And now, approximately 75 to 80% of tea consumed in America is iced. Okay, enough of this, let's go make some peach tea. So since I'm making this tea iced, I'm going to go ahead and add my sweetener, which is honey, into the cup that I'm going to be brewing my tea. I also am going to go ahead and do about a teaspoon and a half per 8 ounces, and then some because this is a white tea and it's going to be iced, so I want to make sure that it retains its flavor of peach. I'm also going to brew it open for about 4 minutes so it cools down while it's brewing, and then pour that over ice and enjoy. I also didn't add any half and half because this is a white tea and I wanted it to keep its peach flavor, and it was absolutely fire. Thank y'all so much for watching today's video. Make sure to follow, like, and comment down below which of the top 6 teas is your favorite or which one you'd like to try the most. Also, make sure to check out my Instagram for more. I love y'all and I hope you found some rest today. Bye!